It's already that time again when we make our end of year best of lists, including monitors. It's hard to crown one true winner with so many fantastic options out there. Hey, I'm Nicholas from Ratings.com. Today we're going to take you through the best monitors to get at the end of 2025. We've independently bought and tested 38 monitors this year, on top of 36 from last year, so we know a thing or two about this stuff. We buy everything on our own, just like you would, and we don't accept any review units or sponsorships from brands. These recommendations are based on what we think are the best monitors to get for most people after putting them all through the same testing process. So, what's the best monitor to get? There are a few factors we take into consideration for these buying guides, like price and availability in the US. If two monitors are similar, we'll recommend the cheaper, easier to find option. We only recommend monitors we've tested ourselves, so we can't suggest anything we haven't tried yet. Of course, our test scores are an important factor, but it's not all about the final score. Otherwise, this video would be a list of the highest scoring monitors and not what's actually practical to buy. With that said, there's no perfect monitor for everyone. You also need to think about your budget, use case, and preferences in refresh rate, size, and resolution. If your favorite monitor is in here, don't worry. As long as it suits your needs, that's what's important. To get right into it, the best monitor that we've tested is the Asus ROG Swift PG27 UCDM. It's a high-end OLED display that's fantastic for almost any type of usage, including gaming. It has a high 4K resolution that makes text and images look crisp, and its 240Hz refresh rate is high enough for most people. What makes this superb for gaming is that motion looks incredibly sharp, and it has low input lag for a responsive feel. Plus, it has premium features that make it well-rounded. There's DisplayPort and HDMI 2.1 bandwidth to take advantage of gaming consoles and modern graphics cards. It also has Dolby Vision support and a USB hub to connect your devices directly to the monitor. It even has fantastic picture quality because it displays deep blacks in dark rooms, doesn't have haloing around bright objects, and makes small highlights pop. The biggest strength of its QD-OLED panel is that colors are vivid for a punchy HDR experience. Despite being the best monitor out there, it's not perfect. The biggest downside is that it risks burn-in with constant exposure to the same static elements over time. While this isn't an issue for most people, it can be if you need a monitor only for work. In that case, we have something for you later on. Another downside is that blacks look purple in bright rooms, so it doesn't look the same if there are lights around the monitor. If that's what you're after, or you need something that's just a bit cheaper than the PG27 UCDM, check out the Asus ROG Strix XG32UCWMG. It's another 4K 240Hz OLED, so it offers almost the same high-end performance with sharp text. The main difference is that it has a true black glossy WOLED panel. The black levels remain deep and inky even in bright rooms. This makes it a fantastic choice if you want an OLED and you don't have a pitch black room to take advantage of its perfect black levels. Sadly, colors aren't as vivid as on the PG27 UCDM, but it still makes highlights pop, and there's no haloing around bright objects. It also offers the same incredibly sharp motion as the PG27 UCDM. Plus, it has an advantage for gaming because it has a dual mode that boosts the refresh rate to 480Hz with a lower 1080p resolution. This makes it versatile for playing different types of games. However, what sets it behind the PG27 UCDM is that it lacks a few features you'd want in a high-end model. It doesn't have DisplayPort 2.1 bandwidth, so it can't take advantage of modern graphics cards. It also lacks Dolby Vision, and its USB-C port is limited to 15 watts of power, which is much less than the 90 watts of power on the PG27 UCDM. These are just some of the trade-offs you have to consider if you want to go for this monitor. These monitors are two of the best because their 4K resolutions make them versatile for both work and play. If you don't need that and you're looking for a dedicated gaming monitor, there are plenty of great options out there, like the Asus XG27 ACDNG, Dell AW3425DW, or the LG 27GX700AB, which has the new RGB tandem OLED panel. Almost any OLED is a solid choice for pure gaming. If you aren't a gamer and you want a top monitor for work, look into the Dell U2725QE instead. It's different from both Asus monitors we just talked about because it doesn't have an OLED panel, so it doesn't risk burn-in if you always have your work tabs open on it. It has a ton of features that make it fantastic for productivity. There's a massive USB hub that includes 5 USB-A ports and 5 USB-C ports, so you can connect all kinds of devices directly to the monitor. It includes a KVM switch that makes it easy to switch computers and use the same devices on both. It also supports Thunderbolt 4 with 140 watts of power delivery, so you could hook up even a power-hungry laptop and charge it while using it with one cable. Plus, it has 2 separate video outputs, allowing you to connect 2 extra monitors directly to this one in a daisy chain. Essentially, this monitor acts as a central hub in your setup, so you don't have to worry about buying an external dock for your laptop. Although it doesn't have the same premium picture quality as an OLED, it still looks good. It gets bright, displays a wide range of colors, and text looks sharp thanks to its 4K resolution. If you find that its 27-inch screen is too small, you can also consider the Dell U3225QE, which is pretty much the same thing, but in a bigger screen at an added cost. Of course, these 2 monitors are expensive, and there are plenty of lower cost work monitors you could get. We'd recommend the Dell S2725QC and S2725QS as budget-friendly options, as they're also 4K displays. That said, they don't have nearly as many features as the U2725QE, so you're paying for the extra features here. If you need a monitor for creative work, the BenQ Mobius EX321UX is a great choice. Although this is designed as a gaming monitor, it has a few advantages over the Dell when it comes to video or photo editing. It has an sRGB mode that's more accurate before any sort of calibration. It also uses mini LED backlighting with a passable local dimming feature that improves the contrast ratio for deeper blacks than on the Dell. Combined with the monitor's high brightness and wide range of colors, it's a great choice for editing HDR content. Its 32-inch screen also helps you view more of your editing program at once. While not as extensive as the Dell, it also comes with a few productivity features. It has a USB hub that includes 6 total ports, and it supports DisplayPort Alt mode with 65 watts of power. It doesn't have any video outputs, so you can't daisy chain a second monitor directly to this one. Regardless, it also has a KVM switch like the Dell, which helps if you need to multitask between different computers. Now that we have the top picks based on usages out of the way, we can get into the price-based categories. These are monitors that aren't necessarily the best at one thing, but offer good value for a range of usages. If that's what you're interested in, our pick for the mid-range price category is the Acer Nitro XV275K P5. Like the BenQ, it's a mini LED monitor that has many of the same features and specs, but costs a lot less. There are some trade-offs for this though, as its local dimming isn't as strong. There's more haloing around bright objects, and it even has some black crush in dark scenes. Plus, this feature only turns on in HDR, and you can't use it in SDR at all, which makes the SDR picture quality worse. Regardless, it's a great choice for a monitor at this price point, especially if you could find it on sale. It gets very bright, so highlights pop in HDR, and it has a high 4K resolution that makes images and text look sharp. It even has some useful gaming features like HDMI 2.1 bandwidth, and a dual mode that switches its 160Hz refresh rate to 320Hz with a lower 1080p resolution. While motion doesn't look as sharp as on an OLED due to some inverse ghosting, its response time is still consistently fast at any refresh rate. Lastly, like the BenQ, it has some productivity perks too. This includes a small USB hub with DisplayPort Alt mode, 90 watts of power delivery, and a KVM switch. So while it's not the best monitor out there and it has some flaws, it's just a jack-of-all-trades type of display that doesn't break the bank. If you're on a tighter budget though, there are some other cheaper options to consider. The AOC Q27G3XMN retains its top spot as the best budget monitor to get. It's another mini LED option that actually has better picture quality than the Acer. It has a higher native contrast ratio for deeper blacks in SDR. Its local dimming feature is also better at improving the picture quality, as it has less haloing and black crush than on the Acer. It also gets bright and makes colors look vivid, so it's great for HDR. There are some clear trade-offs compared to the Acer though. It has a lower 1440p resolution, so text isn't as sharp for reading documents or working. Motion also looks worse because there's black smearing behind fast-moving objects, and it doesn't have a dual mode to boost its refresh rate like the Acer. It also has less features as it lacks a USB hub and HDMI 2.1 bandwidth, so it's not as well-rounded in that regard. This is what you have to expect at this price point, and its pros far outweigh its cons. Even though this monitor actually came out in 2023, it's still easy to find these days. It's not the only monitor of its kind, as there's also the newer Q27 G40 XMN that you can get at Best Buy in the US. It's pretty similar to the older G3 model with most of the same specs. It actually has an upgrade in local dimming as it's brighter and has better overall picture quality. However, it has some bugs and worse motion handling, so each monitor has its strengths and weaknesses. Regardless, both AOC models are fantastic choices, and you should get whichever you can find for cheaper in your region. If the AOC is still out of your budget price range and you need a simple monitor for cheap, look into the MSI G274 QPF QD. It's a low-cost 1440p display that's decent for different uses, whether you need something for work or for gaming. Of course, there are some clear downsides to getting this over the AOC. It has much worse picture quality because it doesn't have local dimming at all and has a low contrast ratio. Blacks look gray and highlights don't pop, which is normal for any cheap monitor. So don't expect good picture quality at this price point. It's still versatile because its 1440p resolution makes text and images look fairly sharp. It also has a 170Hz refresh rate that's high enough for most entry-level gamers, and it has less black smearing than the AOC. Plus, it has a USB-C port that makes it easy to connect a laptop, but you'll need a separate charging cable handy because it's limited to 15 watts of power. Unlike many entry-level monitors, it also has an ergonomic stand that makes it easy to adjust. While it's a decent choice for most people, there are other options if you want something for a specific use. For gaming, the LG 24GS 65FB is another cheap option with better motion handling. Even the Dell P2425H is something to consider if you want an entry-level work monitor, as it comes with a USB hub to connect different devices. Both of these have smaller screens and a lower 1080p resolution, which is what you have to consider if you don't want the MSI. Well, that's it for the best monitors to get in 2025. So which monitor is the one for you? Do you agree or disagree with our picks? If your favorite monitor isn't on the list, don't worry, there are so many great options out there that we can't name them all. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You could also visit our website for full reviews and more recommendations. Until next time, I'm Nicholas from Meetings.com, where we help you find the best monitor for your needs. Ciao.